Okay, if you don't feel safe, get off the airplane.
This is your captain speaking,
Okay.
but never like this.
I'll stop, and we'll fly the airplane. Don't worry, I'm going to let my co-pilot fly it. He's a man. Okay?
It's a total meltdown. The pilot boarded in her street clothes and addressed the passengers over the intercom. Passenger Pam O'Neill couldn't believe what was happening.
She said, let's take a vote. How many of you would like to take off now with me dressed as I am, or would you prefer that I take 10 minutes to get changed into my cute little uniform? Then she started talking about her divorce and political candidates, and the minute she mentioned that, a gentleman stood up and just yelled, "Whoa, enough, you're scaring me."
Another passenger, Randy Reese, got up to leave and gave a running commentary on social media. Pilot also insulted a couple on board.
Did I offend you? Okay, so did I purposely offend you? I did. The answer is yes. Flight attendants, please disarm doors.
After 20 passengers insisted on getting off the United Airlines flight, the pilot quietly left the aircraft.
Okay, if you don't feel safe, get off the airplane. But otherwise, we can go.
You're not really flying the friendly skies there as an emotionally unstable female pilot with an axe to grind. Sounds like the perfect DEI candidate. Welcome back, beautiful and amazing human beings. My name is Luke Rudowski here of wearechange.org, and there's a lot of crazy and wild news to get into, as of course things are heating up with this presidential election, as there's a lot of really important developments as the Biden administration is up to their old dirty tricks again that we're going to be describing in this video, as many Americans are trying to see the eclipse. But are they being thwarted by federal government efforts that are spraying something in the skies? Well, we're going to talk about that conspiracy plus a lot more all here on this independent media broadcast. If you like the shirt that I'm wearing, you could get it on thebestpoliticalshirts.com. And the clip that we played in the beginning of this broadcast highlights the horror story of some people on a recent flight, highlighted by Insider Edition, of a woman pilot who didn't want to dress up in uniform and declared, "Don't worry, there's a man who's a co-pilot that's going to be flying this thing," as she went off on her emotionally unstable rant to passengers who just wanted to get to their homes. No, Billy, we got to be lectured by Karen about her divorce here, since they're never wrong and always take personal responsibility for their actions, right, Billy? You want to fly or not? You better do as you're told, or else we're going to turn this plane around. Another person who's turning a state around is the Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, that just declared that Florida is, quote, no longer a swing state in this upcoming 2024 presidential election, as GOP right-wing Republican voters surged over Democrats by nearly 1 million registrations. Yes, you heard that correctly. Florida, a once purple state, a state that couldn't decide the 2000 elections between Bush and Gore, the state that was always a swing state in recent history, has now nearly 900,000 more Republican voters than Democratic voters, highlighting 1 million plus voter registration shift, as a lot of people are fleeing to this amazing free state that respects people's ability to defend themselves, respects their property, and has some really cool, awesome things to come see, visit, as life here is absolutely incredible, as it might be one of the last bastions of freedom in the United States, as of course there is a full all-out democratic takeover of our political system that is happening all throughout the United States, as the Biden administration and Democratic establishment figures are trying to codify their ability to be in power forever, without no one ever being able to challenge them. This, as they have gone after their political opponents, brought charges up against them, imprisoned lawyers, old ladies, young women who were outside of the building and just touched the table outside of it. Memers have been sent to jail, as the FBI and DOJ have been told to go after Republicans, and they've done that in a very effective way, setting up a chilling factor. This, as the Biden administration looks to codify their grip of control by trying to bribe people with their own money, as the Biden administration just announced new student loan forgiveness proposals that, of course, many people are calling a deliberate voter turnout effort, trying to get more young people that are disenfranchised with the Biden administration's policies on the Middle East to vote for them by giving them free stuff. As of course, nothing is ever free, as you're going to have to pay for it. This as the CEO of JP Morgan and Chase, Jamie Dimon, came out and said that he fears the government spending more money, as well as other larger geopolitical issues like Ukraine and Israel, that, quote, could create an economic environment that could eclipse anything since the 1930s. As a lot of financial experts have been warning that the United States just printing money out of thin air and financing larger global proxy conflicts around the world isn't the kind of best strategy to win friends and influence. It isn't the best strategy to take care of a country, its people, and its interests, as of course financially, the United States is in absolutely crippling debt that we will never, ever pay back. The government keeps spending more money that it just doesn't have. It keeps taxing and regulating people, even though it prints money out of thin air. And it is creating such financial calamities that it's becoming more and more unaffordable just to survive, just to live. As the average American is definitely feeling it at the grocery store, as they're told to sacrifice more so the military-industrial complex could get more of their pound of flesh. This as the Democrats want to continue the war in Ukraine. Some Republicans want to continue the war in the Middle East, possibly even expand it to Iran, highlighting a uniparty that is ever so power-drunk, aggressive, and just absolutely wasteful in its spending. Spending that, of course, is affecting all of us to the point where there is a larger concerted effort for you to literally eat bugs. This as the Daily Mail has two very interesting and eye-opening articles just trying to convince you to literally eat bugs. There's this one here that reads, quote, "I ate cricket meat mince and it was delicious. Here's why you should all be eating insects," which, in my personal opinion, especially after talking to some nutritionist and medical health expert, that is not a thing that I recommend you guys do. The Daily Mail also had another article that reads, "Why do Republicans hate lab-grown meat? War on food like cultured beef and chicken heats up as lawmakers support $1 million fine for companies selling products backed by Bill Gates and Leonardo DiCaprio." Since, of course, these private jet-flying, young children-toting, fart-smelling climate evangelicals don't really give a damn about the environment, and they don't really give a damn about you. This as Bill Gates has become one of the largest farmland owners in all of the United States. Leonardo DiCaprio, let's just be honest here, they probably got some videos of him doing some really weird stuff, and they're probably using extortion efforts to have him push some of the most ridiculous policies on the face of this earth. But with high grocery prices, this is going to be a larger concerted effort that probably is going to be financed by the American taxpayer that's going to ruin the economy that much more. And that's why, hey, you guys should check out American Hartford Gold, as we have a website that we created that's titled getintogoldnow.com. The link is down in the description below. As soon as you go on the website, you just click on it, and it gives you this pop-up window where you could get a free investor's kit. As of course, gold is something that I've been telling people for a very long time as an asset to potentially diversify your assets. Now, financially, I think I've been on the money when it comes to giving out advice. As of course, I always told people, don't listen to anyone. Everyone has a unique financial situation, and if you're investing, always be willing to invest what you're willing to lose. But I think it would be advantageous, and it has been for a lot of people who have listened to me, especially when it comes to recommending alternatives to the dollar, that it might be good to diversify as much as you can, whether that's real estate, whether that's cryptocurrencies, whether that's gold. We have to understand that we are dealing with larger financial pressures that are absolutely significant, as of course, precious metals have always been a great store of value and have always kind of remained the same when it comes to its value and what it could buy you. I like gold. That's why I like telling people about gold, and that's why I like getintogoldnow.com, American Hartford Gold. Click their information, hear them out. They might provide you some interesting proposals that you probably will be very happy about if you listen to. And they're a company that has decided to work with us, and shouts out to them. As of course, you could also hear a lot of my unsolicited financial and health advice on lukeunfiltered.com, as we are going to have a special broadcast later on for you today right after this video, where also we will be giving out 5 free tickets just for members of LukeUnfiltered.com to the upcoming Minds Festival happening in Austin, Texas on April 27th. As of course, Destiny will be there, Alex Stein will be there, Jimmy Dore, Lauren Chen, the soprano actress lady, Sam Tripoli, and some really awesome, incredible individuals will also be a part of this larger conversation that you guys get free tickets to just by signing up for LukeUnfiltered.com. You can sign up today. We will be telling you how we are going to be giving out 5 of these tickets in today's broadcast, all later on, right after this one, on LukeUnfiltered.com. As, of course, we have Eclipse Mania sweeping the nation, literally and figuratively right now, with some people reporting some obstructions that is preventing them from seeing the eclipse that's happening right now. As, of course, thousands have taken to the streets and to Airbnbs all throughout the United States on the pathway of the sun and where it will eclipse the most. As, of course, currently in the making of this video, the eclipse is passing through southern Texas as it will make its way throughout the United States, as millions of spectators are gathering in order to try to get a view of this rare phenomenon that a lot of people are bringing a lot of different kind of attribution and meaning to. Some people prescribe larger kind of environmental reactions to this. Some people talk about religious, occult aspects of this. As, of course, there has been a lot of very interesting conversations that have started about this. As right now, a lot of people are telling people, hey, please don't look directly into the sun. Other breatharians are protesting that news, as government officials are saying you got to buy the NASA-approved eclipse glasses if you want to see the eclipse. As conspiracy theorists are saying, yeah, sure, you want me to support that secretive government institution that uses a lot of Photoshop? Are you kidding me? They have enough of my money. This, as other people are told, hey, if you're driving, just be aware that the sun is going to be eclipsed, and when you're driving, to be ready to turn on your lights, as of course there probably will be a lot of distracted drivers who might have not heard of the eclipse, as that's probably very unlikely. This, as a lot of places are reporting severe weather, stormy forecasts, and overcasts that's going to be preventing people from seeing it, as that's exactly what a lot of people are reporting. This is a video from Keemstar from what looks like his ranch, showing a lot of overcast, as a lot of different people are also posting photos of what looks like some kind of weird emissions from planes allegedly happening today. These photos posted on Reddit, allegedly from Indianapolis, that have not been independently verified or confirmed. As, of course, there's a lot of these photos making the rounds, as other people are also highlighting these photos. This one also from Indiana, this one coming from upstate New York, as it does look like Indianapolis is the one that a lot of people are reporting these significant contrails from, that some people are saying came directly from airplanes. Now, well, what's in these kind of contrails? Are these just kind of natural phenomenons from airplanes flying around? Is the government spraying us with something? Well, the corporate media automatically has their answer and conclusion, and that, of course, it's a conspiracy theory. Don't question anything. Put your head in the sand, and don't you dare ask any frickin' questions, or else you'll be put in the digital gulag. And that's a message that, of course, we find a little tiresome. It's a lot to deal with, and of course, we have to understand here, whether you believe in contrails, whether you believe the government is spraying or not spraying, this is something that has sparked a very interesting conversation, as some people are alleging they're spraying the contrails in order to prevent us from seeing the eclipse. Now, is that the truth here? Again, we don't know what's exactly going on here. I'm not an expert. I don't know much about the atmosphere, so I'm not going to tell you legitimately if it's one thing or another. But I will tell you that there are a lot of articles showing and highlighting how a lot of other countries are using geoengineering, seeding the clouds, and weather modification, that is a real thing, in order to help themselves out. Allegedly. As, of course, the first kind of known phenomenon of this was in China during their Olympics, where they, of course, made sure that it wasn't interrupted with rain by, of course, also flying rockets into clouds and literally obliterating them so it wouldn't rain over their parade. This, as NBC News also has this very interesting article about how China plans to use rain-generating chemicals in order to, quote, save their harvest, as the Chinese government will, and probably already has in many instances, seeded clouds with chemicals so they could retain water better, so they could limit evaporation, and they could, of course, rain down on the local population and their harvest and crops in order to, quote, save them. As of course, China is not the only country that openly is doing this and bragging about this, as of course, this has also been used in places like the UAE, China, Russia, places like Australia, where the news there even admitted that there were larger geoengineering exercises, cloud seeding operations that were actually being conducted the day before one of the worst floods in 40 years. This is a short segment from the local news there describing the situation.
Residents in southern Tasmania are demanding to know why cloud seeding was conducted over the Derwent River catchment the day before the worst floods in 40 years. Cloud seeding is a technique used to increase rain. Hydro Tasmania has confirmed it flew a cloud seeding flight despite the weather warnings. Farmers believe the technique could have made the flooding worse. The Premier says a formal inquiry will be held into the effect and handling of the floods if it's necessary.
Yeah. You would think that would be an issue worth discussing here, as of course there's a larger corporate media attack saying, you believe in geoengineering, weather modification? You're crazy. How dare you talk about the contrails that you're seeing literally in the frickin' sky. This as The Guardian officiously attacked Tennessee lawmakers as they said that they are launching an attack on vapors and that legislators were, quote, targeting baseless concepts to keep state skies clear as Tennessee lawmakers literally banned geoengineering, which NBC News called a conspiracy theory. And as, of course, we just saw and highlighted, it's not. It's an admitted, known fact of things that happen in many countries around the world. And for Tennessee to take executive action to trying to stop weather modification, seeding of the clouds, contrails being released with weird chemicals that we have no transparency and accountability about is, I think, in my opinion, the right move here. Now, exactly what's happening here? What are these tests being done with? Who are the unsuspecting kind of test subjects of this? As, of course, the United States has a very long history of doing a lot of weird scientific experiments on people that don't know that they're being experimented on. As, of course, the United States literally conducted secret Cold War tests with radiation on many residents in St. Louis, leaving a lot of people to die of cancer. This, not even according to me, this is CBS News that wrote, after learning that the Army conducted secret chemical testing in her impoverished St. Louis neighborhood at the height of the Cold War, she wondered if her government is to blame, as the government literally put out dangerous compounds into the hazy air of St. Louis as they were testing smoke screens. As, of course, there's many other cases of the government testing radiation, testing biological weapons, and other unknown substances on people of the United States without their consent. So, excuse me if you're going to have some people questioning what they're seeing in the sky today. As, of course, these questions, I think, are warranted with the backdrop of the government being very secretive, being very elusive, and also treating us as human frickin' guinea pigs throughout the last few frickin' decades. And with the government having a long history of this, automatically responding to people's questions about this, saying, no, you're wrong, you're crazy, is absolutely disingenuous. And if you agree with that, share this video with your friends and family members, as it is more important than ever to question everything around you. And, you know, we don't have to jump to conclusions. I don't think there might even be a connection between what people are seeing in the sky and the eclipse. There might be, there might not. I don't know. I'm not an atmospheric expert, but I am an expert in researching how the government screws you over, and their long history of biological and chemical experiments that they have done on you is something that, of course, we should ask for more transparency on, but also, more importantly, a larger stop to, as any kind of experimentation should have the consent of the person being experimented on. And that's something that isn't too big of an ask by the American people. Don't believe me? Start looking and researching into all the experiments that the government has run on people in the United States without their consent. Tuskegee experiments? Holy freaking cow. As there's also euthanasia experiments that they did, especially in Los Angeles not so long ago. This on female prison populations, surgical experiments, pathogens. Holy cow. You start looking at how the government has started experimenting. Look at the green run tests that they did. Look at the uranium experiments that they did. Look at the radioactive materials that they did. Fallout research, chemical exposure research, Operation Top Hat, MK Ultra. And that's not even describing the astrazine and other chemicals that the U.S. government puts in all of our food, water, and drinking supplies that have been absolutely tainted and probably leading to the larger kind of cultural decay and destruction of the larger family unit that we're seeing happening all around us. But that's just my own personal theory of what's happening right now. What do you think is happening? Do you think there's a larger kind of conspiracy when it comes to hiding the eclipse from people? Let me know down in the comment section below. I always appreciate your perspective. I always appreciate your feedback. I got one more video coming your way on lukeunfiltered.com. 5 tickets being given away today for members of lukeunfiltered.com. If you haven't signed up yet, it is more critically important that you do. And because you do, that's why I am still here. Wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you. And that's why I love you guys. We're also doing a nature hike, probably 2 nature hikes, all exclusively on lukeunfiltered.com. I love you guys. Stay tuned for more here on wearechange.org.